Good evening. This is Dr. Long at Delro with a quick look at Team 15's redeployment plan for Oscar 299. This is the fourth ID redeployment. Essentially, the timeline accounts for personnel and equipment, a decision point that we're prepared then for turn-in at tactical assembly areas and movement to life support areas in anticipation of personal redeployment home, a process to redeploy people, and a process to provide theater or stay behind equipment if required to do so, a transfer authority at some point to either a U.S. follow-on or a multinational force or the host nation, and then the movement of PACs home under ESC control, thus completing the redeployment of the unit. Important decisions yet to be made are final disposition of all divisional equipment, the amount of U.S. support going to be required for multinational partners, and vice versa, and then details on the port support for the loadout of equipment for sea shipment. We're basically going to play the RSOI movie in reverse with movements to LSAs and TAAs, vicinity Pushkino and Burme Bridge, movement by rail and road to marshaling areas where we are loading out equipment at A-pods and S-pods. Be supported by the 4th Sustainment Brigade and their 3 CSSBs. We'll be looking at leveraging contracting support as much as possible using the log pack contract, and then using commercial MHE and rail and bus movement. The division set at the start of the RSO&I is that brigades will be along the international border in brigade areas. We will move to assembly areas vicinity Pushkino and Burme and Belosevar. Then there's the reverse land lock all the way back to the ports at Poti and Batumi through Tbilisi. The principles that we will use to complete the planning really are going to emphasize leadership and discipline above all else. The guiding principle will be that we take care of the horses first, and that we're going to offset risks through the application of active leadership and discipline. We'll look at emphasizing safety, speed, cost, readiness, and then stewardship of people and equipment. We expect our management plan to feature the movement of personnel through an advance party early, then main bodies as quickly as possible, and then some dedicated trail party to make sure that we close the door properly. We still have yet to identify advance parties, composition of the main bodies, which is where the bulk of the brigades will redeploy, and then a trail party led by the ADCS and the G4. We see risks throughout on the basis of discipline, cost, safety, OPSEC, and a remaining hybrid threat. We see an opportunity to possibly do some equipment upgrades based on whether or not there's a decision to leave divisional equipment here for a follow-on unit or as part of a theater set. We don't mind doing that if we can get a plus-up of new and improved equipment at home station, and that would be good for our readiness. The central players on the division planning team led by the S, the G3, the G4, the DTO, and our OCS cell. The theater has the lead responsibility for the overall operation led by the ESC, and through the ESC we conduct our coordination with host nation. In addition to the personnel movement plan, we'll also be moving, looking at when we get the key leaders home, CG, the S and the M, and brigade commanders. For equipment flow, we will also have a management timetable that looks at the drawdown of equipment, accounts for the time in transit, and then the buildup of home station equipment. The division position is that we will hand off that equipment as required in assembly areas, vicinity our current operational areas, and that's going to be turned over to contractors who will move it to home state, to the departure ports, reception ports, and to our home station, where our trail party, our home route attachment, will take charge of unpacking that equipment and getting it into our motor pools. Our soldiers have won the war, and they will go home and spend block leave with their families. So we will have these principles guide us through the redeployment, RSOI in reverse, detailed planning, respecting the risks, looking for opportunities to succeed, and using these guiding principles to complete the development of our plan. Thanks for your kind attention.